Are we ready? I guess, actually, no, I'll do a little intro. Shall we do a little intro? Are we down for a little intro? Real quick, before we dive into the game and actually do the game the way the game's supposed to be done. Okay, so I am feeling a lot better. Am I feeling enough better to not have to take any more time off? Well, we'll see. I'm hoping. I'm really hoping that things are going to be okay from here on out, and that I'm not going to have weeks away. I appreciate your patience, the fact that you are tuning in again, even though I once again had to take not 1 but 2 weeks off stream. But I am getting better. One of my meds is working very well. The other one of the other medication that they've been putting me on has apparently not succeeded. So we're going to continue to explore what we can do about that. So over the next few months, I will hopefully get more answers on that. But in the meantime, I'm doing my best. And I've been thinking about this video game a lot. And I've been thinking about video games in general. And based on the conversation we had last time, when I wound up doing the whole like video essay thing at the start, you know, I actually have started scripting some actual video essays that I'm going to actually try to put together and have shared them with a couple of friends who will hopefully provide some feedback on those. So if that's a thing that you would like to see me do, I'm going to start with, the easiest one to start with is an Undertale Deltarune one, because that I figured I would start with my comfort zone. They're going to be literary analyses because that is what my background is and my area of expertise. And also the fun thing about that is that then that's just purely a personal opinion based on thinking about things and looking at things instead of me trying to explain to you how a thing actually works. Because I feel like I have some issues with people positing their opinions as though they're fact and other people receiving those opinions as though they're fact. And I also don't have enough confidence in myself to assert that anything that I think is fact. So hopefully that'll be fun and interesting. I know that there's a lot of folks who follow me who are fans of Toby Fox and his writing, so hopefully you'll enjoy that. I also have a really big one that I would love to do that is Horizon Zero Dawn and the Talos Principle, which I don't know that anybody but me would be excited about, but I am very excited about it. Disco Elysium, obviously, I won't be able to do anything with because it's going to take a while because I'm going to beat this game in the far distant future. But I have a list of other things that I want to work on. So we'll start with the Toby Fox one, see how it goes. Hopefully it'll come together and we'll all be happy with it. But yeah, thank you for encouraging me and listening to me babble about video games so much. Because one of the things, and I promise this is going to be a relatively quick intro, but one of the things that folks have pointed out to me is that what I do, I've had people call my streams like sort of Let's Play, but mostly vlogs, because I talk a lot about like my own feelings and my own experiences and my own thoughts and things like that. And then when I was talking about this, folks were like, actually, you really do a lot of video essay type stuff on your streams. Like that's basically what you do. So it's not a big challenge to think of you putting together a video essay, like a dedicated video essay video thing, because that's kind of what half of your streams are anyway. So it's like, no wonder I make no progress in my games, because it's one part game, but one part vlog and also one part literary essay. So I'm Lauren. This is what I do. I guess I've got experience. I don't know, but I'm going to be thinking about it the way that I would think about writing an essay academically, which is a background I have, but less formal in its creation, because it's just going to be me running my mouth. Oh man, thank you, Mac. Thank you very much for that. Is the audio balance all right? Can you hear me? I realize I've been really excited and talking really loudly, but also the music on the screen is a bit louder, so thank you, Mags. The thing is, the Stray one actually is going to be a little bit, there's going to be, I think, a little mention of Stray in with Talos and Horizon Zero Dawn. If you're familiar with all three of those games, you will understand that actually there are things to say about that. Um, I'm hoping to not do too much of like, this is why this thing is bad. Somebody asked if I could do an essay on BioWare. And I was like, I don't want to be rude to everybody who loves BioWare, but I have criticisms of them. But I'd like to start with talking about things that I think are done well and that are interesting and effective and cool and neat, and I want you to know about them. And so most of them are going to be like comic relief in Toby Fox games. Or hold on. Oh, just a sec. Oh, it's right over here. Okay, just to give you an idea of what you're looking at here. Yes, I'm about to start. I'm just doing my little preamble thing. To warn you all of what this could be, the Talos and Horizon one is officially the title. The working title is Humanism, Humanity, and the End of the World. So look forward to that. If that doesn't sound like a pretentious essay title, I don't know what is. So yeah. No, not comedy's garbage. That's the thing. If you've watched me play through Undertale, you know how much I loved how much it made me laugh. Like, that's part of why I fell in love with it in the first place. Is I do actually like things that make me laugh. It's just that comedy doesn't usually work on me. But so if you want to hear me talk about how Toby Fox is a genius at comedic timing, and he knows exactly how to use or comic relief for its most, like, at its absolute most effective. And also, I'm gonna let myself, like, read my favorite serious lines from the game too, so like, just that's gonna be fun. So I'm kind of thinking about doing some of that with my channel, because I have not had the energy to do a lot of things, but I can lay in bed. I can read, so I have read so many books, and I can write like mashing out ideas on a page. So that's what I've been doing. But I have energy today, can you tell? So I will eventually hopefully make those. And then I would love to do this game. I guess it's on this side of the screen right now. But I have to actually beat this game. Get at least one full playthrough before I can do that. But then maybe I'll do the one that I started last time. But yeah, thank you. If it hadn't been for you folks like encouraging me to do this, I don't think I've fully indulged this. And of course I haven't actually done it, so we'll see. But I don't want to just be all talk. So like, encourage me to do that if you feel like it. I have other projects I want to work on too, now that I'm kind of coming out of the pit that I've been in for this past 6 months or so, or longer. Yeah. I appreciate your enthusiasm and your support and your consideration, the nice things you have to say, the interesting questions and thoughts that you have, and yeah. Are you ready to play a video game? We're ready to see what happens in Disco Elysium? Hi, Nacho. Just about to dive into the game. Just gave a little preamble, but I think that's given folks who want to drop by plenty of time to drop by. It's less than 20 minutes. You ready? Check that out. Look at my technology. Aren't you excited about it? Watch this. Wait a minute. Why is it not turning on? The cat cam is broken? Give me just 1 second. That won't do. The cat cam is back. Okay. I promise I won't spend this entire time with the cat cam. I will do more than just fiddle with it. I spend a lot of time fiddling with it on Tuesday, but you need the cat. This is Sophie. Everybody say hello to Sophie. All right. We're here. We have the cat. We have the game. I have preambled to my heart's content, and I'm ready to dive back in. Most people settle for bed after 2100. Okay. Question. Where does the phrase settle for bed, like, you didn't think we were actually gonna play this game? No, where does that come from? I've never heard settle for bed. Like, I've heard like turn in, go to bed. head for bed, hit the hay. There's a lot. So many. Settle down for bed. I mean, just settle down for a long. What is that? That's in there's a Christmas poem. Is that a European thing? Like, can Europeans confirm? Is that a thing? Do you settle in for bed? Oh man, now I have to see whether Canada does that. Are there any Canadians, like proper Canadians in the chat? Because I'm only half a Canadian. I don't fully count. I have a few weird Canadianisms, but not enough to be fluent. I'm sorry. I really get excited about words. Okay, well, we're gonna blame this on Europe. Unless proven otherwise. If we can narrow it down to specific parts of Europe. I don't know. I just find this thing's very interesting. Hi, Chrono. Welcome. We're just talking about language. I am delighted, though. I got folks talking about iRhyme in Paper Mario 1000 Year Door. So, like, my life is good. Getting people to, like, use, like, semi-obscure, less common literary terms when talking about silly video games. That's how I know I'm living my life right. Linguistics. I like them. I like it. I would never be able to do a thing actually educating anyone on linguistics because I don't know enough about it. But I have enthusiasm. There is a podcast called Lingthusiasm, a podcast about being enthusiastic about linguistics, and it is my new favorite. Okay. Chrono is making fun of the English language. We could dig into that if we wanted to, etymologically. So, with this, like, mysterious and ominous music, wait. I just hit a button. I hit the right-hand mouse button, and it, like, highlights things, but more than that, it makes my brain do the spinny spin. Ocelot, why is your brain spinning? I thought something more ominous than that had happened because that sound, like, cues you that there's something going on. Okay, so last time we kind of anticlimactically ended our conversation with Joyce, in which we agreed to do some digging, but I am absolutely not going to get I'm going to potentially make a morally questionable decision and not turn my friend in for if my friend, the truck driver, is responsible for the smuggling. We'll see. His brain is perpetually spinning like a disco ball. Maybe so. No, so then we came into the apartments and we checked out the wrecked apartment, and I got I got engaged in a battle with it wasn't rhetoric, was it encyclopedia? I got into a battle with one of my brain friends. I'm sorry, I didn't actually go back and watch last week's stream, the 3 weeks ago's stream. Jeez. But so the good news, it was logic. It was logic, because I would have been more betrayed if it was rhetoric and I got into a battle with rhetoric. I leveled up off the fridge, and then I got into a fight with logic. Disco Elysium, folks. It's great. The good news is that it's entirely possible that my memory loss could be caused by extended lack of oxygen due to potentially several years worth of iron deficiency. And so if I'm able to fix that, that's the one thing we haven't fixed. I'm having really good luck with the thyroid medication, which is why I don't feel like garbage. But the anemia is not responding as well as it should be. But if we can get that fixed, which we have some ideas to do, then I will hopefully get my brain back more than I thought might be possible, including my memory might come back. Can you imagine what would happen if Lauren could actually remember things from week to week? It'd be very exciting. Yeah, but so that was interesting, and we had some serious thinking about people here being kicked out and being desperate, and the level of desperation here. We spoke to the woman who is cleaning, I guess the custodial staff lady, and she was not very forthcoming, but did give us a hint as to where we might find Fakey McFakerson, who gave us 100% legitimate name. Who is the person we are here to speak to, and who gave us the key to come inside. So is there anything essential that I'm missing? Because otherwise, I think we're going to go ahead and dive on in. Yes, proper iron levels will give me the ability to make my brain go spinny spin. That would be nice. Well, we'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I don't want to give myself unrealistic hope and then be disappointed, because I keep thinking maybe this thing is going to help my memory. Maybe this thing, maybe, going off of this medication I no longer need, etc., etc. Nothing's done it. But this might actually work. So we'll see. And you folks will probably be some of the first to realize it, because you're able to see, like, you noticed something was wrong when I was playing this game. I think before I realized how bad it was, I was noticing I was getting questions and comments about, like, kind of like, why did you do that thing? And I'm like, I don't know, because I wasn't fully functional. So we'll see if I can remember stuff. But in the meantime, I will celebrate my little victories as I get them. So we could knock on some doors here, or we could actually go do what we're supposed to do. I kind of want to go talk to our fellow here. So if we go to, okay, this is the character sheet. This is the inventory. This is the thought cabinet. Is this a notebook? No. What's the notebook? I have a notebook. What is my notebook? Journal! J. I bet it's J for journal. Also, hi, Snuggleberry Squish. That's a very cute name. And hello, do we have anybody, by the way, do we have anyone who's joining me for the first time? Is there anyone here who has never been to a Lauren stream before? Because if so, I welcome you. I welcome you. But I also hope you know what you're getting into, or if you want to have a little bit of a caution about what you're getting into. Because I know we've got a couple of folks here who are watching live for the first time, but you've watched my stream before on YouTube, so you're old hat. This time you can participate in our silly conversations, but you know the rambling that awaits you. Maybe I should just tell everybody I'm just a video essayist, just talking about, I don't know. Anyway, we still need to figure out karaoke in this game. There's a really important, like, fundraising concert for the VGM scene on Sunday, and so I might actually do a Sunday stream myself so we can raid them. So don't be surprised, but tell me what you think we should do. Maybe I'll see if I have the energy to do like a little mini concert or something myself. All right. The smoker on the balcony. Didn't he tell us his name was Martinaise or something like that? Mysterious stranger smoking on the balcony of the apartment building north of Martinaise. He knows something about the murder. Find out where he lives and question him again. Look at me, I remembered that. Which is such a real name. Genuinely a real name. Okay, so we asked around for his apartment number. Locate the door number 28 in the apartment building. So these, like, if you look at the facts... Are you ready for me to think too hard and read too much into things? No, if you'll notice the fact the apartment building here is shortened to APT. Like, this feels like this is something that has, like... This is literally the journal that presumably I'm writing in, which is funny because Ocelot doesn't really seem like the kind of guy who would write in a journal. Like, that is very definitely Kim's style. But the way this is written is very clearly, this is not from Kim's perspective. Grew hunchiously redeemed posture check. That's a good point. That's a good point. My posture has resulted in me having some problems with my jaw. Did you know that could happen? I didn't know that could happen. So try to sit right. Don't have your head leaning forward, and try not to. Apparently, one of the problems is resting your head on your hands with your hand on your jaw. So don't do that. I do that a lot. So I'm trying not to. Well, it could be a mental journal, but the fact, like, just this right here feels like that's what happens when you write. I write with shorthand all the time. I don't know. Because I'm also still trying to figure out what the deal is with the means through which we're playing this game, like this archival spool thing, like, is that actually going to become part of the game, or is that just the way that they've decided to take the UI and skin it to feel like it's part of the world and unique and different without that actually being, I always forget this word, the word for things that we experience as the audience, but that are also part of the game world itself. What is that word? What is that word? I feel like I should just like have it written down on a sticky note. Diegetic. Thank you. Like I just need a sticky note that just says diegetic. In fact, I can do that. And even better, my sticky notes. One of my friends gave me sticky notes in the shape of Texas. I'm just gonna write the word diegetic on a sticky note and put it on my screen. I'm very impressed. Yeah, my friends will like just send me photos of things that are Texas shaped when they think I'm feeling homesick. It's very nice of them. I can make Texas shaped waffles in my Texas shaped waffle maker. I don't know. I don't know. It's a thing, and I think it's hilarious. So, diegetic. Can you hear that? Do you hear the sound of the Sharpie? The weirdest Texas-shaped thing I've ever seen. Oh God, I don't even know. But there, see, you can't tell because I mirror this, so it doesn't weird me out. But anyway, that's shaped like Texas, and it says diegetic, and it's gonna go right here. And friends are going to come visit me and be like, why do you have a Texas sticky note that says diegetic? I'll be like, or maybe they won't even ask. They'll just be like, that makes sense, Lauren. Anyway, yes. So we don't know yet. Oh, this is probably a bit too loud, isn't it? We don't yet know to what degree Texas is just really into Texas, okay? There's a brand of beer that bills itself as the national beer of Texas. It's because Texas was its own country and it has never gotten over it. Hi, I'm Oracle. Yes, I am live. I actually did it. I came back. Oh, amazing. A swarm of bees shaped like Texas. It's just, if you're not familiar with how Texas is about Texas and the shape of Texas, I will tell you stories about things shaped like Texas, but at another time. But yes, so to bring it back to what we were talking about in the first place to prompt all of this. This is the first time I've used my Texas sticky notes. I'm so proud of myself. I'm so excited. We don't yet know. I don't know. You might know. In fact, probably some of you do know, but shh. I do not know whether the journal and the things here are diegetic in any capacity. And I don't know whether the archival spool element of this, whether this is diegetic, this felled device, or if it's just skinning of the UI, which is interesting. Oh man, Texas and Alaska. Alaska's actually bigger. You know, California is also actually bigger than Texas. It's only the third biggest state. That's never gotten in Texas's way. Oh my gosh. Hi, Sophie. You're such a baby. You gotta see this kitty on. There we go. Hold on. Just trying to make sure that you've got cat. It's very important to have cat. There we go. All right. So the smoker on the balcony, we're gonna go see. She is not cross-eyed. She's a little peeved looking. She hasn't been on the stream very much in the years that I've had her. And Nox was on the stream all the time. And so I feel as though you should all get to know Sophie. So I'm gonna get a new webcam that is better. Or else I'm gonna replace this webcam, because you know how it glitches every so often? Like, it's like there's like a glitch in the machine. I might trade this one out and turn it into the cat cam and get a separate camera for me. I'm not sure. We'll see. Yes, Texas is... Oh. Oh, man. I read that book too, Noel, girl. Yeah, so we're going to go... We do not have a map yet, but we will get one eventually. Oh, this tells me... Oh, I can do these ones again. I don't remember where the Hanged Man was. I just know that the Hanged Man is the name of a tarot card. All right. I have read some really good books recently. That one was not. I was not as much the target audience, so I did not love it as much as other people, but I can see why other people do. But I did read The Goblin Emperor, which was amazing, and the first Murderbot novella, which was also amazing. I'm currently trying to read the first volume of Lumberjanes. I've been reading a lot, folks. The Libby app is dangerous. Shall we take this balcony? The Hanged Man card. So he is dangling upside down by his feet. Oh, hold on. There's a lot of things to observe here. But the Hanged Man is dangling upside down by his feet, usually by one foot, hands behind his back. And it's I've heard people say that the original concept for it is a reference to Odin trading one eye for wisdom, hanging himself from the tree and giving one eye up for wisdom. So what is a good short description for the Hanged Man? Because I want to make sure. Okay, ultimate surrender, sacrifice, or being suspended in time. So it can be like on pause, but it's the sacrifice, like you're like kind of like waiting in between stage, but also like giving something up to receive something. So hi Lentil, well welcome. We have cat cam. Aren't you excited? Well, look at all of these things. Okay, so the game seems to want me to click on this one first. Like the pink one. The pink one it's very subtle. Sir Street, thank you for following. Do you have a friend who's like I don't know, Madam Road? The whole family? Oh, that's not alliterative though, Lauren. If it's not alliterative, it loses the fun. Dame Boulevard. Oh, that's way more interesting, Chrono. Madam Avenue. Madam Avenue has a good ring to it. Lady Lane. There we go. Noel girl. Anyway, I'm sorry, Sir Street, but your name was good. Yeah, the Hanged Man pose is one of those things that has a lot of significance because the original Rider-Waite tarot deck, everything about them is symbolic, highly symbolic in the way that, like, blanking on the word for it, the mysticism and the occultism of that era, they had a very particular way of being, and it comes through in the Rider-Waite tarot. I prefer non-Rider-Waite tarot that still managed to capture the general idea, but with more approachable symbolism. If you're not careful. Maybe I'll do a tarot reading on Sunday's stream. What do you think? I have multiple tarot decks. Okay, pink orbs are fizz related. Yellow ones are motorix. Neither one of these am I any good at. I can't do either of those. I have no points in either of them. I haven't done tarot readings in a while. I don't think I've done one since I lived like a previous apartment ago. So that would have been 2021 or... Yeah. Amazing. We could do that. I will warn you, my tarot readings are... well, I guess actually you probably can guess what they're like. Alright. So let us go with the one that's pulsing first. God, I forgot I have my really cool gloves on. Alright. The breaker box is full of cigarette butts and electric wires. That seems dangerous. That seems rather dangerous. Wait, there's... Oh, wait, no, that's not the pink thing. That's just an observation. That's just the green thing. Okay. The pink thing. A maroon glow of light pollution rises from the east. Interesting. Is that where the heart of the city is? Now this one's pulsing. You were supposed to do them in order. You hear distant traffic. Night is falling on the city. I wonder whether you get a different thing out here if you, Doesn't it look like Kim is hugging him? Doesn't it look like Kim has his arms around him? Anyway. I assume that these boys get shipped rather intensely. I wonder if you get different descriptions of the city depending on the time of day you come out here. Hello and welcome. And welcome to everybody who's just turning in. You haven't really missed a whole lot. And I'll repeat myself probably a little bit as we go. I want to look at these things. What is this? Can I open this? Is this a mailbox? Oh, look, there's some bottles up there. Okay, I would have to actually do something about this. Hold on, I want to observe these things first. You know how this is, don't you? Someone's growing rosemary, thyme, and a cactus. That's funny because a cactus has different needs, I would think. Although rosemary, to be fair, rosemary is, I don't know what a rosemary plant's native terrain is like, but I can tell you that rosemary does extremely well in arid environments. It grows quite well in Texas and Austin, where there's a lot of cactus. Thyme, though, I don't know about thyme. Parsley, sage, rosemary, and thyme, though. I'm a big fan of Scarborough Fair. It's a beautiful, beautiful song. I did a cover of it. I think it's up on my YouTube. Just a door. Nothing for you here right now. Okay. All right. Can I see these things up here? Oh, maybe I'll be able to eventually, but not yet. Hold on. Hold on. This is the door to apartment 29. Complete silence. Whoever lives here isn't home. Well, that's good to know because I don't want to get overheard and get this guy in trouble. This is the door to apartment 30. Voices from within, singing along to some buoyant dance track. Can you get any closer to this? Can I actually walk out here onto the roof? No, I cannot. Hi, Kim. There's a whole bunch of windows. No, can't do anything there. Well, this door says there's nothing for you here yet, but eventually there may be. So that means that, like, if this is 29 and this is 30, then 28 is right here, which is what we want to be. And there's something really interesting above it that is glowing, right? That looks like that's glowing purple. Because I would normally not assume that it was light of some sort, but it does seem to be. I wonder if it is a light above the door, if they all have lights above the door. Usually there's supposed to be lights in places like this to make it safe for people. So you can not have to fear going down a hallway. I wonder because it doesn't have the look of that, and I'm not seeing any like what I would usually expect, like a can light of some sort going down here at regular intervals, you know, for safety. So in that case, like from a diegetic perspective, is the purple light a light that our fellow inside has turned on to show that somebody is home? Or is this purely signaling to us, the player, this door doesn't look like the others. This is the one you want. I don't know. Could be. Could be. Okay, hold on. We're gonna, oh, not that. Look at me though. I'm getting a bit better here. We're gonna equip items. No. Tools. Is it a tool? Wait, there it is. I'm gonna put this in here for now. And see if sometimes that'll let you pick. Okay, no, there's nothing else to pick up here. Okay, inventory. Gonna take that out of my hand. All right. It could be both things. It's just that it could also be that it has no diegetic presence in the world and that it solely serves to indicate to us, the player, as a cue, this is where you're supposed to go. Like, it definitely does that. The question is, does it have an actual role in the game? Like, does it exist in the game world? I don't know. We'll find out. I'm thinking about getting lights or something for in here so that I can be like a true streamer. Wouldn't that be cool if I was a true streamer with like my cool lights behind me? I don't know. I don't know, man. Are you ready to do this? I feel like I should save. Save game. Just gonna make infinite saves. Because apparently you can just make infinite saves in games like this. Apparently. Alright. So what do we know about this fellow? He has some knowledge that he is not willing to shout down from the balcony related to the murder. That is what we know. Let me make sure journal. Haha. The J button works. Is there anything... Yes, he knows something about the murder. Okay, but is there anything else here that tells me? Nope. All right. Let me just quickly look through here. I should probably call the station's Lazarus at some point, but maybe I'll do that tomorrow. Crip. Oh. I thought I did that. I haven't finished inspecting the body, though. Yeah. Alright, and now I also need to do this. There's a whole bunch of stuff I need to do. Well, that's fine. We'll do that. Alright. Let us go ahead and start talking to this fellow then. I'm trying to think if there's anything I need to jog my own memory about. So we know that the body was put up by a number of different people. Or at least that a number of different people were involved in that, because Ocelot actually used his brain, and Kim has faith in his response to kind of figure out from like the footprints in the ground. We know that it has to do presumably with the labor dispute of some sort, like, or in some capacity. We don't know for sure who called it in. We know that the body was hanging there for a while before it was called in, which is very interesting and telling. We should go back and finish doing the scene with the body eventually, but I wanted to do this before it got too much further. This might be a bad idea. But I have to investigate everything before I do what I'm supposed to do. See if I can actually like get enough money to stay not on the street, or if I'm gonna have to like sleep like a bum on the street, which would not be very good. All right, sleeping rough is not. I suspect it would not be the first time that Ocelot has done that, but I don't know for sure. All right, are you ready, folks? Are you ready? As a reminder to everybody before we dive into the game properly, if you know what's going to happen next, or you know what's going on, or I start asking questions without putting on chat hat, most of the time my questions are rhetorical. If you're about to explode because you want to answer a question or tell me something or whatever, and you just can't help it, go to the Stream Spoilers channel on our Discord and scream together as a group. Sophie is unfortunately on the chat hat right now, so I'm going to just have to tell you that I'm wearing the chat hat, which is a shame. But on the other hand, Cat, so I think it's a fair trade. But yes, that's that. I generally don't want to be reminded of a thing or have a thing explained to me unless I expressly asked, and I will tell you the terms of what I want to know before I ask that. Yes, I know lots of people get very like, oh my god, I'm going to just burst over, which is why we have like a little outlet for that bursting to happen. But I will say, like, you know, if I need a hint, put it in the form of a haiku or like yes or no question, things like that. So, I try. We figured this out. We've worked this out in other games, and it works okay. All right, in we go.
This door is made of metal and appears to be reinforced. Someone here really values their security.
That's interesting because the rest of the things here don't seem to be particularly well made. I mean, presumably they would have to make any changes and alterations to like themselves. This is a thing we've had to do in our apartment. And when I say we, I mean my roommate, because she's the one who's handy. So when things break, she fixes them. I will help buy the supplies and provide moral support and bake a cake. This is what I can contribute to the household. Infinite cakes. But if you don't have a reputable landlord and you want things to get better, sometimes you just have to do them yourselves. So if they replaced the door themselves, though, that's pretty extreme. But also, like, there is a clear lack of interest. Like, is the landlord going to notice and care that the door has been replaced? No. So somebody who has actually... Yes, my roommate does have high interfacing. She does. She does. That is her skill. I do not have that skill. But I have other skills. I'm curious because I can't help but wonder, you know, what is this person involved with? Because we know that people have become very desperate due to a number of factors, a number of forces in the area, restricting the resources and jobs and things available to them. So we'll see. Let's continue.
Number 28. This is where the cleaning lady said the smoker on the balcony lives.
Can you imagine your reaction speed roll being so bad that this doesn't come up? Oh, that would be embarrassing.
Let's see if anyone's home. Knock on the door.
Well, they're like, are you ready? This is your chance to be like, oh, shoot, I need to save. Excuse me, I can swear on the stream. I could say, oh, shit, I need to save. But why would I waste a swear on that? Let's knock on the door.
No one answers.
Excuse me?
Looks like the young man we are looking for isn't home. I think our best chance to catch him is in the evening.
He looks around, taking in the cold spring air.
We should return tomorrow after we have finished with our day's work. How about 9 p.m.? Sound good?
Oh, I can ask, what do you mean, or sounds good. Let me ask, what do you mean, because I want more information, and then I'll say yes. But I'm a slightly clown shoes, so.
The smoker on the balcony. This is why we're here, right? He might know something about the murder. So tomorrow 9 p.m.?
9 p.m. Thank you for translating into not 24-hour time me. So this is interesting. If you come here at a time where your brain is not thinking about this, they have a little cue to remind you of what's going on.
Suddenly, he's a little worried about your memory.
Oh no, Kim, I'm sorry. I just thought you might have more information.
Don't worry. It's mostly all still here. You can remember things. You got this.
Well, I'm glad one of us has it, Ocelot, because I do not. Oh, what a pair we are. All right, sounds good. Tomorrow at 9 p.m.
Tomorrow, 9 p.m., right here. Apartment number 28. Good, let's go.
He writes it down into his little notebook. I like that they put his notebook into both his animation and the descriptions of his actions to remind you that it is there, because it's such a character-defining thing. It gives him something to do, and it may wind up having some significance, like maybe he'll lose his notebook in the future, or he'll have some information in the notebook. Like, it could become a major plot point, or it could just be a small character-defining trait.
Damn. Turns out it's quite tricky finding someone in a big apartment building. Don't worry. You'll get him.
All right, reaction speed.
Remember, tomorrow, he's probably gone for today.
I could knock again. Oh, I think that Kim might object. Also, it's grayed out, so we're gonna not do this. Have fun, JSN. Enjoy your work day. I hope it goes all right. You'll have the VOD to look forward to with whatever I decide to label the chapters with. All right, I guess we'll leave. Well, so much for that, folks. Nope. Mask of the Rose, isn't that the one with the Fallen London team? Isn't that their thing? Yeah, that was quite anticlimactic. But that's all right. The thing about streaming games is that you can't actually predict what the pacing of something is going to be like. So you can't actually predict what's going to actually be a big deal all the time, or how to pace things. You can kind of get a feel for it, especially with games that are a bit more predictable. but I'm gonna go down this exit stairs. Red checks can be tried and failed only once. All right, and we're back to the body. We might do that already. Amazing. I want to get that coat. Shortcut. I mean, this is probably what you're supposed to do anyway. Okay, hold on. Inventory. I'm gonna put my bag in my hand and see if there's any more junk around here. I don't see any more junk around here. Okay. The very charming children are over there. Okay, hold on. Before I go to deal with this, which of my tools do I want? I don't think I want that. Look at clothes. Because I thought about it. One of the problems with role-playing games and stats and interactions and things like that is that you kind of like, do I game the system by swapping out my clothes to give me the stats that I want? Or do I think about what it would look like to be dressed this way or have these items or whatever in the context of the game world? I think I'm probably going to actually have to play the game by trying to use... I think I'm going to have to... No, this is a rhetorical question. This is me talking about it. But, like, that's, like, kind of a question. So, I haven't really changed my clothes too much because, for one thing, his disco outfit feels very in character, you know? But then you get, like, these weird gloves, for example, and these different hats. I will have to have a very good reason to take my hat off because the hat has... Yes, it has a point in Encyclopedia, and I'm friends with Encyclopedia. But more importantly, this hat is imbued with friendship energy. It has character significance of an emotional sort. And that makes it a staple of my wardrobe. Because these are my priorities. But otherwise, this is an RPG. And this is, yes, Ocelot's character does fit having questionable fashion choice. No, but that is interesting. They've made it so it can be in character and acceptable because, like, you know, like in a lot of games, whatever equipment you have, whatever you do, like the characters in the world don't respond to it. It's like there's a disconnect between the gameplay mechanically and the game world and the characters that live in it. And so you can show up wearing like a diaper and holding on to like a trident of doom and have like elf ears and a devil's tail and people don't blink because with the context of the game world, nobody sees that. This game doesn't feel like the kind of game that would do that because so much of like, I mean, the way that people react to things literally is the gameplay. But they have a great excuse for your character dressing like a total weirdo. Like an absolute and utter weirdo. And that is because your character is a weirdo. So it is in character. Like, there is no way that this man won't look ridiculous. His face is trapped in the disco grimace. So nothing that you do, nothing that you can do will make him look calm and collected. So therefore you can have him walk around and have serious conversations with gardening gloves and a detective hat and that necktie and just be like, oh, okay, yeah, whatever. I guess this man is strange, but he's strange, so it's fine. But that does give me the freedom to think about this in terms of gameplay mechanics. I like role-playing things. If I'm playing stuff in person, I'd really actually genuinely prefer it not to have dialogue options and NPC reactions and things be hinged, like be dependent on dice rolling and things like that. But it works here. It makes sense here. And again, like, it is an RPG, and the mechanics are alter your stats and take actions and do research and gather things and stuff to open up more dialogue options. And so just as you might say, I'm fighting a flying enemy, so I should equip my bow and arrow, you know? matching your gear. Like, oh, I'm in the like I'm in the volcano. I probably shouldn't wear my ice armor. You know, you change your gear to change your stats appropriately for getting what you want to out of the gameplay, which in the case of most RPGs is killing the monsters without dying. Well, I've had some memorable failed rolls already, and I do appreciate that a failed roll, like, sometimes it can be frustrating because it takes the story in a direction that isn't what you wanted or what you feel like would be a better story direction, but it never feels like you lost something. You always get something, you know, and you can be rewarded. Like, a good GM in person, like in like live tabletop role-playing games, you know, a failure should be as interesting, especially a critical failure should be as interesting as a critical success, if not more so. Like, you shouldn't be like, oh, well, you failed, punish you. It should be like, here's something that's really interesting and exciting. That's a neat experience for you to build off of. That makes it less predictable and gives you more conflict and stuff. So, no, I do appreciate, is it weird? I did have some resistance to thinking about this from an RPG's mindset. But you can't just... I mean, you can. I was for the first little while. Like, just playing this without thinking about stats. But the stats are going to jump in and do their things anyway. The skills are going to jump in and do their things anyway. So you're just choosing which of the voices in your head you want to have access to more often. That's all. No big deal. Yeah. And I have my friends and my not friends on that list. So I do think that I am. And there have been folks who have been asking me since the beginning of my streaming. I do think I am actually going to try to think about the gameplay mechanics a bit more. But I didn't want to until I had figured out whether that was a direction that I wanted to take. If that makes sense. Which is part of why folks said do this, and I was like, I'm gonna just pretend you didn't say anything. But I having experienced things, and especially the way that Joyce's conversation went reminded me that this is not an adventure game in which you try to put the right combination of things together to get to unlock the thing you're trying to access. But instead, the opponents are fighting against you, and you have to, like, be prepared to engage in verbal combat. Zero on Elite, thank you for following, friend. Welcome. I don't know that I don't know that I'm going to be thinking about things in terms of min-maxing, because I can't min-max very well. Even in the best of circumstances, I can't, much to some people's dismay. Like, that's not where my brain goes. That's not what I like to do. I'm not good at it, and I don't enjoy it. But there is something before min-maxing that is kind of just thinking about, like, okay, in the situation that I'm going into, what's the best way to prepare myself for it? Not like, what is the optimal way to do this, but what's a good, like, how do I prepare for this scenario? And I don't know that min-maxing actually could be done in a game like this. Like, this doesn't feel like a very min-maxy type game, because in order for min-maxing to really be a thing, there has to be an optimal path. And I don't think there is an optimal path in this game, because there are so many different paths. There are some that are probably harder, some that are emotionally harder, some that involve more successes than others. But there's not the optimal route. There's not, like, the ideal build. I don't think. I think that's more it's more complicated than that. It has too many variables. I've thought about save scumming. If I were playing on my own, I probably would, but I'm streaming, so I'm not. But there may be times that I do try that, and we'll see. And so there's not going to be purity in this playthrough. I mean, I suppose so, Jando, you could min-max for your own optimal route, but even so, I don't know that the game itself functions that way. Maybe it does, but Yeah, well, I feel like once you get to the second playthrough, it's kind of like a repeat of a visual novel where it skips through stuff, so you kind of know what you're getting for, like you're going for. You kind of know what you're getting after. But save's coming a little bit, I think. There may come a time that I'm like, no, we're loading. I will not accept this. It could happen. This is a first run. Yes, this is absolutely a first run. I talk a lot. It has come to my attention recently that my streaming style is one part video essay, one part vlog, and one part gaming. So consider yourself warned. It's okay to be a min-maxy person. I just think that this game probably doesn't lend itself so directly to min-maxing as a lot of other games do because of the number of variables. That doesn't mean that it's a wrong direction. And there are people who get really anxious, and I get anxious about, you know, I want to make people happy. I have a people-pleasing nature. So if I pick an answer that I think hurts people, I feel bad about it. I want to go back like that. And so knowing that you can load your save because it is a video game is helpful. Discussing theme and real-world references in the game, that is largely what we do, but it's hard to do that on a bigger picture level right now because I have experienced so little of the game. Not that that has stopped me from talking about theme. In fact, I had a 20-minute or 30-minute ramble before my last stream of this game where I was basically a little video essay on on this game and the way that it brings in different kinds of basically just calling it a literary satire, and putting it in the context of satirical works of literature that I've read over the years, specifically and especially the Book of Merlin, the Excise chapter from T.H. White's Once and Future King. So if that sounds like a good time, welcome. Pull up a chair. Yeah. So there will be some discussion of that. So as we talk about that, you're welcome to come in and talk about that to some degree. But bear in mind, I'm still very early in the game because I'm the slowest player in the entire world. And I've had some health issues, so I've missed like about a month of the past. It's been a lot. But if you want to talk spoilers and theme and stuff with people who have played the game and have like deeper conversations about that, we do have a channel for that specifically on our Discord. Also, you can just scream about something dumb that I do in the game. Oh, COVID! I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry to hear that, and I hope that you have a good recovery. I had subclinical hypothyroidism and iron deficient anemia-ish. Wasn't quite bad enough for anemia, but it sure was incapacitating, and we're still fighting it, so good times. Alright, so the glasses lower my authority, raise my logic, which is generally more how I feel like approaching things. I don't like authority. One of these days, authority and I are going to agree. It's going to be... Actually, there was a time that I didn't disagree with authority recently, I think. Hypothyroidism. My thyroid was just like, no, I give up. Yeah, the thing is they have like almost exactly the same symptoms, so that was fun. But I feel much better because the thyroid is doing better on Synthroid, but the iron deficiency has not improved enough. In fact, my numbers actually went down 2 months after I started taking serious iron supplements, so that was unfortunate, but we have plans. There was something the authority and I at least weren't opposed to each other. Yeah, man. So apparently Synthroid is like the most commonly prescribed drug in Canada. I didn't realize just how common it was, but as I was dealing with that, I started talking to people and like everybody has problems with that. And I'm really curious if that's something that like has been a problem for all of human history and human evolution, or if there's something about modern society. You know, we've had problems in previous generations with lead or asbestos, and then people have talked about whether the microplastics are perhaps this era's equivalent of that. And I wonder if that's, you know, perhaps related in some way. I don't know. I'm curious about it, but I am just glad to not be feeling like that all the time. So. Oh, that's interesting. If it is very, very old, and it is a very long-standing issue, is it like? I just wonder. All right, so I don't know that I'm going to need electrochemistry here, and I think I definitely need these gloves on, the interfacing gloves, because I'm handling the dead body. The orange bum hat is just the opposite of how I like to play this game. And I have the hat of friendship on, so I don't want to take it off. Physical instrument, I just know I don't need that. I will go back to conceptualization is much more my style. The pants though, and the jacket, those are things that I would replace. Yeah. Inland Empire and I have reached a truce. For anyone who missed my earlier streams, and I don't know if I recommend you go back, like if you want to go back and watch my earlier streams on YouTube, they have like, they're very, very heavily bookmarked, like time-stamped for a reason, because I talk a lot. But I had some trouble. Oh, thank you for subscribing, Blues. Yeah, well, Inland, the thing is, I have a very, very strong Inland Empire of my own, and it is not always in alignment with Ocelot's. That's the main character. So I had some problems with Inland Empire at first, but we've come to understand each other. Sophie, baby. You got kitty. Let's see. So I think we're good about this. I think that my gear feels fine. Tools. I have a flashlight to discover secret orbs in shady areas. Oh! I could have done something back there. Then I have Gordon Freeman's weapon of choice. And I have chain cutters, which I think there was something that I was going to need those for. I could have used that up there because it was a bit dark, but it's not like dark. All right. Is there a way to get in here from here? No. I'm going to have to go around, I guess. Okay. Well, I suppose that's good. I suppose it makes sense. All right. Well, we're going to walk past the very charming children. Hopefully they will not notice or care about me. Please ignore me, children. Ignore me. Why is this entire wall? Hold on. What, Ocelot? Why are you looking at the entire wall? We're gonna look at this.
This is a wall on the side of an apartment building.
Well, I'm glad to know that Ocelot is asking himself the same question that I just asked. Why am I looking at this wall? Are you going to imagine what was graffitied on this wall before it got covered up? Because that's kind of what I guess. Conceptualization. Oh. In the dimming light, some things become clearer, and Cindy's artistic impulses are infectious. How fascinating! Oh, how fascinating! Oh, how fascinating! I absolutely adore that those are the things that are contributing to my ability to do this extraordinarily difficult check. And there's also obviously going to be something about painting something on the wall because Cindy is mentioned. Let's go for it, shall we?
Because this is no ordinary wall. It is sublime. Look at it. The shadows, the colors.
I'm so delighted. All right, so thank you. I'm very pleased. I will take no credit for that. I guess that could be all my luck for the stream. Well, we'll see. We'll see what kind of horribly disastrous things happen. All right. Let the conceptual joy flow into your pupils and blossom into thoughts in your brain. Am I going to get a thought cabinet for this?
All the other walls on all the other houses must make a pilgrimage in adoration of this, the uncontested pinnacle of wallcraft, color peeled from the very face of God.
They had way too much fun writing this. I absolutely love that. And my response is more with an exclamation point. This is amazing. He is just reveling in the, like, extraordinary otherworldly beauty of this wall. World of Wallcraft, yes.
Oh, Wallfather.
What? Conceptualization what? So I can either say, Kim, I must paint this wall, add even more beauty to it. Or, no, there's nothing to add to perfection, and back off. This game is very funny. It does make me laugh. Sophie was woken up by my squealing. It's okay, baby girl. Pet the cat. I feel like I should give like a point redemption that is pet the cat. Which of these melodramatic options? Oh, we all know what I'm gonna pick. Kim, I must paint this wall. Add even more beauty to it. And Kim's gonna be like, what? Which is the correct option. Hold on. Observe my cat. Observe my cat. What are you doing? Sophie? Sophie? Okay. Oh, she's a little weirdo. I love her very much. Yeah, that was the stinky face. But what are you smelling, Sophie? There's nothing. There she goes again. I'm sorry. She's gonna go for it again. Should we get stinky face times 3? What is it? No stinky face that time. She is stinking. She's sniffing at chat and making the stinky face. Sophie, that's rude. I'm gonna scoot this a little bit out a bit more so that you can see the kitten. There is the kitten. All right. Anyway, we're gonna pick this option.
Huh?
Kim is just like, what is going on?
He sounds tired of it all.
Oh no, I'm sorry, Kim.
Cindy the Skull has all the necessary materials. Talk to her.
So excited about this. I'm probably gonna mess this up, but that's all right. That's in character to mess this up. All right. So I can say, first, I know you're tired, Kim, but take another look at this wall. Draw nourishment from its beauty. Or, I must talk to Cindy, get the necessary materials from her. To which Kim might tell me that it is in fact illegal to vandalize property. I'm going to ask Kim to please draw nourishment from the wall's beauty.
Mm-hmm. Sure.
The lieutenant looks up at the wall reluctantly, then back to you. Oh, he's such a good sport. I'm sorry, Kim. I probably should have done this without Kim here. I'm just going to disappoint him. I must talk to Cindy, get the necessary materials from her. I passed the wall check, and I'm pretty sure I'm about to make my friend very disappointed in me. I don't know. I bet it's because I've agonized for like weeks. I haven't finished the conversation with Cindy because I don't want to crush her spirit, and I don't know which answer to give to not crush her spirit. All right.
If you must.
Oh, look at that. Add even more beauty to the wall. I got that task. Kim sighs, then adds in a resigned tone. Oh, that's brilliant. Fantastic. Wonderful. Cindy and I will be having a conversation about that tomorrow. Mark my words. All right. So we're gonna keep going. Oh, wait. We can run. Oh, Kim, I'm sorry. You have the combination of an ADHD character and an ADHD player to deal with. We're dangerous. Alright, so that's the whirling in rags right there. And this is the way to go. Do you see? I remembered my way back here. I remembered the name of that place. I remembered how to run. I'm remembering things. It's very exciting. I'm excited anyway. Oh, right. Charming children. Very charming children. What is in this box again? Oh. Morale. Okay. Kim is just like, why? Alright, let us save again. I'm sorry. I'm just going to save obsessively. That's what I do. Because apparently we can have infinite saves. So we're just going to do that. Watch my... We have so many saves that it actually does damage to the game. I should go and investigate what's in there at some point. With my flashlight. F5 is quick save. Yeah, but... Alright, let us go interact with the body.
There he still is, looking right through you with his white eyes. The body below is entirely dedicated to that corpse smell. Emitting it is all it does now.
Content warning again, if this is not something that you're comfortable with, this is the time to step out. If you want to step out or mute things and look away and pop into our Discord chat, if anybody wants to do that, let the mods know or somebody know, and you can hang out in the stream chat channel there and somebody can tell you like content warning is over. So I will say that right now, just because dead body could be uncomfortable, could be a bad time. So, all right, I have given folks notice. It is time to dive in. Oh man, I still don't have the greatest odds of doing this. Let go of your nose without throwing up. Yeah, because that's another potential trigger warning. So consider yourself warned. Do I have anything that could potentially help me do better with this? I have the gloves on. I don't think I've got anything else that helps with endurance. Do I have anything else? Don't jinx me, Squizgar. Alright, let's give it a try. Yes, my bonus, if you didn't notice, is shit compressed +6. Alright. We're gonna miss this one horribly because we got the Wallfather. Alright.
As you breathe in, the odor comes over you. It's a smell of the mind telling you to run, and your stomach to wring itself empty. With your hands at your sides and your eyes squinting, you stand in it.
You use mindfulness to not be affected by it. Phew! Alright, thank you. So I can say, do they always do that, or I can step closer. I'm going to ask, do they always do that?
They do after 7 days, yes. We are deep in decomposition here.
I love Kim. I know everyone else loves Kim. Controversial opinion. Hot take. Kim is a great character. Step closer.
The man before you is naked, but for a pair of underpants and enamel boots. His skin is greenish, marbled with decaying veins, and blotched by lividity. A fading web of tattoos covers his chest and shoulders. The cargo belt used to fasten him to the branch above appears industrial in strength.
So, you gotta give them credit. That is an accurate description of the character model that we see before us. There, in fact, are boots and underwear and tattoos and a cargo belt. I didn't realize that was a cargo belt. Somehow it not being a rope is more disturbing. I'm not quite sure why something improvised using the materials available to them instead of something that is associated with the purpose is more unsettling, but it is. So I have a lot of investigation that I can do right now, and I'm gonna dive on in and do it. Sorry, Ocelot. but you are using mindfulness to overcome your body's urge. Yeah, no, the writing, they don't revel in it. They're not going out of their way to try to gross you out, but they are also not holding back at all, if that makes sense. Like, they could play it up even more if they were trying to be shocking, but instead they are trying to make their point. All right, let us inspect the boots, our first option. Probably Chrono. That is a good suggestion. Yeah, I know, Blue Glass. I was thinking we might go talk to more people or do other things, but when Martinaise wasn't home and we were within sight of the body, I figured I'd do this. So we're gonna do this. I can't be predictable. The only thing you can predict is that I'm gonna talk a lot. That's what you got.
The material appears to be ceramic. Its clean white stands in stark contrast to the decaying flesh above the knee. The man wore thick polymer socks, probably for padding. A fine array of interlocking plates covers them.
But that's not just boots. That sounds like armor. And it looks like armor. Frankly, it looks like armor. I thought that might have been a strange decision in the modeling, but it's very intentional. Why do his boots look like armor? I don't know.
Delicate and fragile, they feel alien to the world around you. Out of place somehow.
I don't know that that's where I would have gone with that Inland Empire, but okay. I mean, ceramic, I suppose.
These are clearly not boots. They're armor. Possibly part of a larger set.
Thank you, Logic. We're on the same page here. This is good. This is why, by the way, if you're watching me for the first time, this is why I built the character the way I did. So that he and I... We also both struggle with memory issues and stuff, so it's great. Very in character. But I do not, fortunately, have a substance abuse problem or anything like a lot of his larger problems. But he's built to be rhetoric, logic, encyclopedia, and most of all, empathy. I should have a little thing that tells you, like exclamation point build or something, and it tells you what my build is. But fortunately, you all have good memories, so you can do that for me. Thank you. Thank you, mods. I don't know if there's room on the overlay, but we could make it so it's something that a bot can do. I wanted, because I was concerned about... I knew that it was a dark and heavy game, and I was concerned about it getting too dark and too heavy, so I wanted to go with empathy to make it most likely that my character will not get embroiled in doing things that I'm uncomfortable with. But also, it helps my character be able to overanalyze the people around him, which is what I like to do, so we're having a good time. All right. These aren't just boots, are they? This is the armor he was stripped of. Like, who or what was he? Was he some sort of, you know, was he in here for, like... Because the thing is, like, if you have a security guard doesn't need to wear armor, generally, you know? That comes to, like, military level of engagement. So... Well, no, I'm not saying that he was a security guard. I'm thinking through ordinarily day-to-day life experiences. You don't often encounter people in armor. Armor is largely for combat situations. And we'll see what's going on in this world, whether that's different, whether armor is more common because the world is a little more lawless. But one of the problems that we've been having with the militarization of the police force in the United States has been that they are being dressed in armor and given military-grade weaponry. And that's really not called for in the scenarios that they find themselves in. And having somebody in armor, I think, gives them more of a military mindset that... hold on, let me move the cat cam. Do I want to become armor cop? I do not want to become armor cop. Sorry, you're getting cat. Yeah, it does look a lot. I mean, it looks like a knight's leggings, like greaves, I think is the right word for that. Um Something you would find in like a fantastical setting. Like, even if it is like modern setting, it's like Final Fantasy style modern where you have people wielding buster swords. Um but I cannot think of a circumstance that would be warranted for somebody to wear armor like that in a civilian environment. Um, I would say police militarization does more than just help with demand for military industrial goods, which it definitely does make money for the people who make those goods. But I also think that it helps the people who want to exert power and control over the populace. It's easier for them to maintain that power and control and not have to worry about that power and control being at risk if they arm the police force who they have possibly in their pockets or as true believers for their own extremist beliefs, you know. Well, we're talking about real world comparisons here. um yes, military gear encouraging militaristic thinking. That's what I'm saying. Like, if you dress somebody up like a soldier, they're going to start thinking like a soldier. And so bringing that back to Disco Elysium, when you have this conflict between forces, I mean, I'm already concerned because the guy in charge of the scabs is clearly a military style plant of some sort, regardless of who he's technically employed by right now. He does very strongly seem to have a military background in his delivery and the way he carries himself. But even before that, there's a lot of conflict going on. And if you were to introduce like an armed, militarized feeling police force into that, like that escalates the situation potentially quite profoundly. So these aren't just boots, are they? This is the armor he was stripped of.
Indeed. Technically speaking, these are sabatons, not boots.
With his notebook under his arm, the lieutenant crouches to inspect the souls. I do really appreciate the blocking that they give us because they are not putting their budget into cutscenes, which is the right decision. They cannot animate these characters doing all of these things, which is good actually in that it allows them to have the characters do things that would be not cost effective to animate. Yeah, but see, I'm not talking about the police force per se in this case. I'm talking about like the you know, corporation security. CorpSec. I've read some cyberpunk. I know how it goes. Or corpses, as they're disparagingly referred to in a few of those settings. What was I saying? I was saying something. What was I saying? Oh, what was I saying? Oh, yeah, just I really appreciate the way that they give you the blocking, and by that, like, I'm referring to like a theater style blocking where you give the instructions of how the characters are acting, what the characters are doing, the actions they're taking, in addition to their dialogue. It keeps it from just being talking heads, without requiring them to do things that they have animated, and without limiting them to what can be animated. And so again, giving characters an object, because Joyce has her coffee cup, and she keeps interacting with her coffee cup, and there's something I don't know. There is a term for it, I think, and I'm not. My writing background is not in playwriting, but I'm pretty sure there's a term for giving a character an object that is like a defining object or something to interact with in scenes, and they seem to be following that school of thought because Joyce has her coffee cup, Kim has his notebook. I'm wondering whether other key characters are going to have an item that they interact with in that regard too. We'll see. I haven't spoken to enough people yet, because they take too long to do anything. But not just a prop, but like a specific like signature prop for narrative and character developing reasons. And yeah, it makes it not feel like talking heads. So sabatons, that is armor, not boots. They look kind of like stormtrooper legs, don't they? All right. Yes, and the cafeteria manager fixing the bird. That's a good example. Yes. Um. All right. What kind of armor is this exactly?
Ceramic plate. Zirconium dioxide, most likely. This is where the make would be.
Kim is very aware of a lot of things. Where?
Under the hill. Fair weather. Fair weather model T500 VE. I'm guessing that's vitreous enamel. This is advanced stuff.
That's really interesting. He turns the boot slightly. This is super interesting. Fair weather. I don't know if we've heard that before. I might have to go digging through my notes to see if that digs up anything. Vitreous enamel. I don't know if any of this is actually based in real materials that things like this are made out of, or if they're giving us realistic sounding invented science like they do. Well, I don't have notes, but there are thoughts that list off things that might have that. So I'll dig through. I'll dig through my notebook in game and see what I can dig up. All right, so I can say, where's the rest of it? Scavenged by the locals. It's interesting. We might have to go look through the pawn shop and see if we can find bits of it. The material looks out of place here. Knock on the boot, pull the boot off, or back off and look at the corpse. I'm going to just interact with everything. Vitreous like glass. Oh, okay. I've heard that term before, but not in the context of. I feel like I've heard it in a more surprising context than. I don't know. Not going to trust my memory on this. Okay, where's the rest of it? Scavenged by the locals?
Piece by piece. He's been out here for 7 days. It would be odd if they didn't.
He nods. That is interesting. Okay, so the body wasn't always naked. They didn't kill him and then take his armor off except for the legs. Or they didn't take his armor off and then kill him, potentially. Okay.
We should keep a lookout for these pieces. The armor could yield information. Maybe he'll know something.
He nods towards the problem child. All right, so I can either say maybe he was just wearing these boots and there is no rest of the armor, or understood. It is possible that there was no other armor. It seems highly unlikely, because why would you armor your legs and not the rest of you? So instead of challenging Kim in a way that I don't think makes sense, I'm actually going to go along with what Kim says here.
The sabatons dangle off the man's decaying form, ageless and synthetic.
Such effective writing. I'm going to say the material looks out of place here.
It is. It's expensive.
The lieutenant draws a line in the condensation on the ceramic with his index finger. Like, what are you doing here wearing very, very fancy, very, very expensive armor, sir? Because they make it very clear this isn't, like, it's not just that this is, you know, military seeming equipment. The wearing of armor itself is a point beyond what I would expect. But they make the point that this is particularly expensive, particularly fancy, and that's very strange. Why is that here? What here warrants that? Who brought that in? What made them think it was appropriate or necessary?
We've requested similar material for our tactical units for years now. The constabularies deemed it too costly. In that time, we've lost 6 men to semi-automatics.
Oh my god, am I going to be able to take off the armor and pawn it for money? Pretty sure that that's not a good idea. I probably shouldn't do that. Kim would not approve of that. Lost 6 men to semi-automatics. Okay, that's actually good to know, because knowing that there are semi-automatics out there in the hands of people that the military force, or militia, excuse me, that the militia has to face, it's good to know. It lets me know kind of what is at stake as far as, like, safety, danger, what I might potentially face. Tells me about the availability of firearms to some degree, and what kind of firearms, because I don't think that the cops have semi-automatics. I don't think that these two do. I suspect that my If it's a revolver, I'm gonna laugh. Did we decide it was a revolver? Did we get the information? I'm trying to remember. Anyway, how much are we talking about?
For a full set, about 4 years of wages.
Wow.
For the northwest region of Revachol, an officer's average yearly income is 5,500 real, unadjusted for rank.
Is this a conversation I can have with my own brain of encyclopedia? So here, I can ask myself, do I want to go clown shoes and be like, ka-shing, baby, and nod to the boots? Or be more serious and meet Kim at the seriousness that he is? I'm boring. And tend away from clown shoes a lot of times. So I'm curious about the yearly pay and what I presume that he has spent all of his money on hard drugs and alcohol are quite an expensive habit. Say that's a lot, I take it.
As a wage, it's regrettably small. But for a piece of hardware, yes, that's a lot.
Alright, how could this man afford such expensive hardware?
That's for us to find out. My initial report on the area suggests he was a security guard for the harbor company. But that's just hearsay.
Initial report. So interesting, okay. So he is just a security guard.
Just something I scraped together from my station. An area report on Martinaise. I'm sure you did the same.
Oh, Kim. Oh, Kim. He might have. I think it's highly unlikely that he did, but he might have. But actually, he very well might have.
He's not actually sure of that. He's just being tactful.
So polite. Such a polite fellow. These look pretty advanced for a security guard.
I agree. This equipment is way beyond what a guard can afford.
Yes. So then you wonder, who funded this? Who brought in this man? Who actually was this man? Knock on the boot.
A small bell-like sound fills the air, like tapping on the side of a porcelain cup.
Sounds fragile.
It's anything but. This material is a kinetic redistributor. It spreads kinetic energy horizontally, from plate to plate, dissipating it entirely. See?
He points to the boot. Huh. Kinetic redistributor. Is this real science? Yes, the kitty is snoozing. I hope you don't mind the cat cam, folks, but... Non-Newtonian substances? Cornstarch and water. Yeah, but I usually then put it in like a soup or pudding. I made chocolate pudding the other day. I put some cornstarch in it and an egg. It was pretty good. My roommate hadn't had chocolate pudding like that before, so. Pours like a liquid but gets hard when you smack it. Okay. Interesting. So the science behind this is realistic, but the actual execution doesn't exist in our real world. If you fill a pool with custard, you can run on... Excuse me? What? Custard, toothpaste, starch suspensions, blood, butter, and shampoo. What do these things have in common? They're non-Newtonian substances? Poor security guard is wearing pudding on his legs. Yes, yes indeed. Very expensive, very fancy, bullet-stopping pudding. If I get these, I hope you know I will be referring to them as my pudding boots from now on. Sheer thickening fluid. This is fascinating. Yeah, no, this kind of science is not my expertise in any way, so.
Faint, organic lines cover the plates where they separate into smaller ones. These plates then divide into smaller plates until there are hundreds of them altogether.
So it's just a whole ton of little pieces.
like whirls of floorboards. The design looks organic, influenced by highly resistant wood materials, like lignum vitae and ebony perhaps.
Vitae, I don't think is how that word is supposed to be pronounced. I mean, I don't know if it's supposed to be pronounced vitae like it looks like, but I suspect that that was an error that I would have marked if I were the audio proofreader. I can say, what does this remind me of, or not interested. I definitely want to know what does this remind me of and see if it'll pop into my head. Let's find out. Like a fancier version of chainmail. Oh, that actually does help me imagine it and understand a little bit more about how it works.
If trees were made of porcelain, this is what their cross-sections would look like.
Run your finger over the lines.
The smooth, glossy surface fractures into ever more intricate interconnections, peaking on the right sabaton, where you notice. ... The whorls are in the shape of a letter and number combination, E50, 100, 1000.
There is something very satisfying about the moment when this comes together. But I didn't level up after that because I leveled up off of the refrigerator. Alright, point to it. Looks like there's a serial number on the right sabaton.
Good. Can you read it to me?
He tips the drying ballpoint of his pen on his tongue. E50, 100, 1000.
We have a make and a number. That's something. We can use the radio in my kinema when we're done. Either station can chase it for us.
What happens if I pull the boot off? Is Kim going to yell at me?
This feels dangerous. Are you sure?
No, actually, because the body will come apart. We don't want to do that. Better not even try.
The sabatons dangle off the man's decaying form, ageless and synthetic.
Thank you, Inland Empire, for stopping me. I guess it's my friend after all. Good job. Back off and look at the corpse.
The cadaver slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos and extremities blotched pink and blue.
Trying very hard not to think too hard about this. Inspect the belt.
The hangman's knot is pulled tight by the weight of the corpse below. Yellow, hard-edged polyester cuts into his neck. Above, a sliding buckle ties the belt to the branch. This is a steel-reinforced cargo lashing belt, big brother of the regular cargo belt. It's used for tying cargo under six-rotor airships.
Airships, my friends. We are in a setting with airships and kitten cats. Oops. There could be a Sid in this game. Yes, that is true. We could go Final Fantasy-esque. I think she's a really cute kitty. I will get a better camera situation, but for now, this is what you get. All right. So I am interested to know that this is a setting that has airships, which is something that I tend to associate more with steampunk. But it would fit what we know of, I believe, the way that cars work and technology in general here. But it is also very curious. How does Ocelot know that this is how you tie cargo under six-rotor airships? His response here, which I have only one choice to give, is, "Don't ask me how I know, but this is a lashing belt used for airlifting cargo." Because I wouldn't have known even what a cargo belt was. Like, I have no idea. For airlifting cargo, I guess you strap it underneath the airship.
Airlifting. I thought it was used on lorries for strapping cargo to them.
Kim is surprised by this. So, My options here are either they're both very reassuring. Kim will feel very confident and comfortable with me regardless of which one I choose. Apparently this is the reinforced kind for air transport. My brain tells me so. Or, then again, what do I know? I don't even know what an airship is. I think I'm actually going to go with the first one. And Kim knows that things aren't quite right in my brain. So he knows to take things with a grain of salt. So we're going to go with this. So they say. Let's go with this. I'm not going to doubt Encyclopedia. Encyclopedia tends to be my friend.
The local harbor uses 6 rotors to shuffle containers around. I get the sense they use whatever was on hand without paying much attention to not incriminating themselves.
He nods. Okay. So this would be available. This would be readily available from the local harbor. And they didn't care about whether this would look like. Well, so like the tricky thing is that it doesn't have to be somebody from the harbor. It could also be somebody trying to frame the people from the harbor as well, you know? It's complicated. So we can say, we're assuming dock workers from the harbor did it, or they sure wanted him to stay up there. The rope. I'm going to go through, I'm going to see if I can ask these one by one. I think I'm going to be able to. So we're assuming dock workers from the harbor did it, ?
I'm still approaching this as a lynching, yes. Motivated by the ongoing strike. You?
He politely raises an eyebrow. All right, Ocelot. Tell me what ridiculous shenanigans are in your head. Is the horrifying necktie going to speak up? Is Inland Empire going to come up with some cuckoo banana pants theory? Or do I actually have something reasonable? Let's find out.
No. You feel like it was something else. But what?
Inland Empire is sounding so reasonable here. So I could say either makes sense, believably mundane, or I feel like it was something else, or don't ask me, I'm just lumbering from one moment to the next. I'm going to go ahead and repeat what Inland Empire said, because I don't think we can take for granted that it is dock workers from the harbor. Like, we don't know for sure. I want us, like, we can think about that as the most likely possibility, but I don't think we should rule out alternatives. Because if it's obvious enough a connection to the harbor, then yes, we could say that they don't care about incriminating themselves, but they could very easily be trying to incriminate someone else. And I think it would be irresponsible to overlook that and rule that out. So I'm going to say I feel like it was something else.
Yes, it often is. This bell worries me.
Okay. So he's on board with that. That's good. I'm glad he doesn't feel like I was attacking him by saying it could be something else. They sure wanted him to stay up there. The rope is reinforced with steel wiring.
I was afraid it would be. Thin steel wiring, parallel strands. This makes getting him down more problematic than I had assumed.
He rises to inspect the noose. So my knowledge about it is actually turning to be correct. Which is interesting because, like I said, I suspect that that Ocelot's personality gets developed by what you choose, and that the information that you give, like, kind of influences reality, perhaps. I don't know. We'll see. That's just the concept, a theory I'm working with right now. But yeah, no, Kim does understand intuition, and we've talked about that a bit. And so I think he's kind of gotten the impression that Ocelot is a bit of a savant, but he's really, really, really troubled. So Kim is like, if we can get his troubledness under control to some degree, he would be an excellent detective, potentially. How did they even get him up there?
A noose is one of those things that's easier to use one way around.
He points to the buckle tying the belt to the branch above. Yeah, because, like, just trying to picture, like, the scenario of how they did this and how they set this up. handler and occasional accomplice. Yes, that is Kim's role. He has to be the handler of Ocelot as he bumbles through in confusion. So I can say, did they climb up using the kids' ladder? Point to the one at the side of the tree, which I did notice, as you can see. It is interesting that it is following the direction of my flashlight. Perhaps I should have turned my flashlight off for this, but whatever. I didn't.
That ladder can't carry a grown man. I didn't see any splintering either, did you? I think they lassoed the branch, then pulled on the belt to close the buckle.
Right, because then they can just pull and pull and pull.
Could be. The shape of the branch supports the theory.
Thank you, visual calculus. Yeah, because it's smooth here, so they would have been able to easily like lasso it around there. So they tie it around his neck, they lasso it there, and then they tug.
The cadaver hangs from the cargo belt, limbs limp and torso covered in tattoos.
So they tell you kind of like what they kind of hint at what to interact with next in a way with the description that they give you. They update. It is interesting that they update the description of the hanged man each time that you change. Each time that you move on to the next thing that you've looked at. Yes, no, that's true. It does have a bit of a dip there. So. And as it turns out, because I grew up in Dallas, where there weren't, especially where I was growing up, there were not a lot of trees because it was kind of Great Plains, and the neighborhood that I moved into was a newly built neighborhood when I was a kid, and so they planted little sticks in the ground that would have since then grown into majestic trees, but at the time were tiny sticks. So I didn't grow up climbing trees, and I didn't realize just how strong seemingly slender branches can be. It's very interesting to me. So a branch that thick, that's pretty sturdy. Let us inspect his spiderweb of tattoos.
An intricate web of blue lines stretches across the torso, from the right shoulder to the solar plexus. Each time they intersect, a small white star is formed in their crossing. Hundreds of fading asterisks riddle his skin. Their concentration is highest around his heart.
That is a very strange, because that sounds like that would be a very, very time-consuming one to have hundreds of overlapping lines, meaning like there's got to be an extraordinary number of lines there. But I also wonder like if this is some sort of like membership tattoo or something for some organization. I don't know.
His corpse is marked by stars.
Thanks, Inland Empire. To which my response is, what will mine be marked by? It is interesting to consider them like stars. It's very poetic.
Alcohol and heartbreak.
You know, I can't argue with you there, Inland Empire. Sorry, you just get one kitty ear. Is this a map of the night sky? Is this a microelectronic system, or is this a national pattern? Yeah, no, Ocelot definitely does not have an overinflated opinion of himself. Ocelot has a very deep self-loathing. Not even just self-deprecation, self-loathing, I would say. It is unsettling. The corpse actually sways. It's uncomfortable. Is this a map of the night sky? Probably not. A microelectronic system? I don't know how any of that works in this world. Is this a national pattern? Because I don't know what else it could be. I'm gonna ask if it's a national pattern.
Of no nation that I know of. If anything, it reminds me of religious illumination, last or penultimate century. Men who live harsh lives often turn to innocentic worship. But which one? I see no trace of a humanoid figure.
Innocentic? I do not know that word. Innocentic worship. What does that mean? Does somebody have a dictionary handy if you wouldn't mind? Say we're missing something here.
I agree.
A sudden ring fills the air as the lieutenant pulls down the zipper of his orange jacket. Oh, okay. Inacentic is a setting term. Thank you. That is a good answer. Say that it's an in-world. Okay. Sweet. Thank you. I appreciate that. That's the perfect answer. Because normally that wouldn't have to be a chat hack question, because I would be like, oh, I don't know that word. And you'd be like, Merriam-Webster defines it as this. So I didn't think of it as a chat hack question. Interesting. He pulls down the zipper of his orange jacket. What is he doing?
He takes a thin piece of milled aluminium from his coat pocket and pulls it open. Sounds like a sword being unsheathed. A small lens appears. Some sort of camera.
Oh, he's going to take a picture of it or something, maybe? Or else he's going to, like, use, like, some weird light source to see with something under the skin or something. Let's see. What's that?
Triget Sunshine. Mini.
Triget Sunshine. I don't know what that means, Kim. You're going to have to... Remember, I don't know anything.
Triget is the world's leading manufacturer of intercommunication devices, primarily projectors. The camera before you looks familiar somehow.
Oh, thank you, Encyclopedia. Encyclopedia has my back. God, just imagine how confusing this would be if you played a build that didn't have Encyclopedia. And it'd just be like, well, I don't know what that is. I mean, there's probably some other reason why you would know things, but it wouldn't be my reason, which is Encyclopedia. Yes, Encyclopedia is there for you.
Shit, Kuno! What the fuck is that?
An instant color camera.
He produces 2 metal-capped ampoules, I don't know how to say that word, and clicks them into place on the side of the apparatus. A thin slot shines there.
This is the first time he openly acknowledges the kid's existence.
Interesting, okay. Suggestion.
I have only 2 ampoules, so nobody move. I don't want to waste one.
He points the camera at the corpse, peering into it. The lens needs adjusting. Then... It's interesting because the technology is so finicky in this setting.
A sound, a shrill flash, followed by the breaking of a small ampoule of glass. You see streams of color pour onto the thick, glossy piece of paper, rolling out.
LFD standard. Triget moment non-flammable. Streams of color pour onto the paper. So it's... That is so interesting. Like, so interesting. You know, is it like, what are those cameras called? Oh, if only my memory was working functionally. You know the ones I'm talking about. Polaroid. A Polaroid. Thank you. Yes, if it was like a Polaroid, I wonder. But the streams of color pouring onto the paper rolling out doesn't seem like a Polaroid. Because the Polaroid, the chemical reaction is happening underneath the surface of the glossy paper. Here, I mean, it could be that it is that sort of thing, but the description that I would use to describe a Polaroid is not streams pouring. It's more like it like fades into existence out of nowhere, becoming brighter, as though revealing the image that was secretly hidden under the paper this whole time. You know, that's to me what a Polaroid is like, not this. But obviously this is a different form of technology, so... But that's the only comparison that I can make in the real world that I have any experience with, so...
In case we need it.
The lieutenant says, and shakes the paper, letting it dry in the cold wind. On it, a color-perfect copy of the dead man's tattooed chest. Yeah, it's interesting, because you shake a Polaroid. I don't actually know if you actually need to or not, but the idea behind shaking a Polaroid, at least in terms of, like, standard people who don't really know how these things work, is that it's supposed to be, like, it, like, makes the chemicals move around. It's the idea. It makes the chemicals move around. And so this does seem more like a printer, where as the paper comes out, the ink is being applied to it, the color is being applied to it. The idea of having a portable color printer like this is just fascinating and really interesting. Yeah, and nobody moving, I mean, but the thing is, like, you would want to say, don't move, even with a digital camera. If you're not taking video, if somebody moves, they'll mess it up. So he may be like, nobody jump in, nobody change it, nobody make it move. Let it hold as still as it can. So that makes sense. But the color perfect is interesting. So I can say either cool machine or what do we need this photo for? I'm going to say cool machine because what do we need this photo for sounds like it might be questioning Kim, and it's been a little while since I've done something a little bit clown shoesy. So I'm going to choose this. It says a color perfect copy, so presumably according to Ocelot it's very accurate, but it also depends on what you're used to, because if we look at old-fashioned photographs, they don't look, a lot of them don't look very, like, they look, you know, maybe blurry or not as detailed or things like that, but they were like extraordinarily like you've captured their soul. That's how real it is. So it's interesting. All right, cool machine.
Yes, it is pretty cool, isn't it?
Oh, he sounds so happy. You can hear it in his voice. He slides the camera closed and tucks it away on his belt. He really likes it. I'm so glad. I made him feel good. He enjoys that. What do we need this photo for?
It contains insight to the victim's person. By his build, I'd say this was a man of physical violence. The story he wanted his body to tell was important to him. It is his letter to us. Someone should decipher it. We'll need to show it around.
I really enjoy this. So, can I have it? I should look at it later without the corpse smell. I would like to have it because then I can offer it around and ask people about it. If Kim can trust me not to lose it. So I will ask, can I have it? I should look at it later. Let's see how this goes.
Sure. Just don't lose it.
He hands you the piece of rolled up photo paper. It's no larger than a pack of cigarettes, which is actually a pretty decent way of talking about size. Like, I don't think that that's a super uncommon thing to say for size, but it's also very telling about Ocelot himself, you know? Like, I feel like other people might say, like, a pack of cards, but a pack of cigarettes, you know? All right. Yeah, no, the technology is so unique and distinctly its own thing that I kind of wonder how much of it is to make the setting feel very alien to us while still having recognizable things just in an unfamiliar way, and how much of the unfamiliar technology is actually going to be necessary for the plot, for the story that they're telling. I'm curious. We'll see. Excuse me.
The glossy-eyed corpse looks by, his mouth mute and his skin as colorful as the chemical rainbow on the photo paper, teeming with opportunistic organisms.
That's really unsettling. I wonder if because I chose the third option there, if I was supposed to work my way down to it. Well, I didn't.
You've acquired an interactable item. Investigate this item further by going to the Interact tab in your inventory.
Thanks, Toriel. I'm going to do this. I'm going to take psychic damage. You ready for me to take psychic damage, folks? We're going to do this. Look him in the eye. All right.
His eyes are milky white and blind to the world, protruding comically from their sockets. There is no one home, just subaquatic terrors there. Dark brown hair grows on his head. His face is ready to explode from the organic processes inside. The death's head grin has passed. What remains is an unrecognizable mess.
It's interesting. They really reinforce just how long he's been hanging here. That it's not It's not just the tragedy of a dead body, but an actively grotesque corpse that's been left to decay to an extreme degree.
Underneath the curdled meat there is an expression, not carried on his features, but below, inside, an expression of pleasure. This man was experiencing joy at the moment of his death.
I want to be able to do both of these. I want to say this man enjoyed the moment of death, and I want to say, tell me, who are you, dead man? This isn't Inland Empire. This is empathy. That's what makes it so interesting. It's not carried on his features, but below, inside. How can you tell? What can you tell? Okay, yes or no? Chat hat. Yes or no? When I have a list of options and then the last one is an option to get out of here, does that mean that I will be able to ask every question in that list and then back out? Yes or no? Okay, sweet. I'd kind of figured that out because there's sometimes where it gives you 3 options. And there's sometimes where it gives you a way out. And it feels like anytime it gives you a way out, that means that this is an interrogate the list. So that's kind of what I figured out. And yeah, it's the sort of thing that I could see Inland Empire saying, but I think Inland Empire would have phrased it differently. You know? The concept is an Inland Empire type thing. But I think that it would be different. There would be something a little bit more unhinged, a little bit more colorful and poetic about it. Yes, exactly. It would be purpler. All right. This man enjoyed the moment of death.
Why do you think so?
Either I don't know, it's an intuition, or for supernatural reason. I'm going to go with it's an intuition, because I feel like that is the best way of describing one of the voices in my head said so.
Okay.
The lieutenant marks something in his notebook. That is an understanding. That is something that he can wrap his, he can accept that as a thing that you're suggesting. And also by saying this is my intuition, you're approaching it with the, I don't know, it could be right, it could be wrong, I just have this gut feeling this way, that doesn't indicate that you're completely unhinged. If you were like, I just sense it, man, it's a supernatural thing, you would be like, oh, I see, you're being crazy again, you know? So let's try this Inland Empire. I like this. Tell me, who are you, dead man? And I have the option to retry this. Now this is 83%. It's high likelihood of success. However, we have gotten 2 successes that were rather unlikely, including one that was extraordinarily unlikely. So I suspect we will fail this one now. Are you ready? Are you ready to fail this roll? Buckle up, folks. It's time to fail this roll. We're gonna do it. We're gonna do it. Okay. Let's see that snake eyes. Oh my god, we'll see. We'll see.
I'm gone.
I so like I have to ask myself, and don't tell me. No spoilers allowed. No spoilers allowed. Please keep your reactions to yourself on this thing that I'm about to ask about. Because of the mindset that I tend to bring to stories in which I'm open to the possibility of magic realism, and am likely to assume that that is what is happening if I am presented with it as though that is happening. I am not inclined to say, no, that would never be the case. I have been entering into this game since the moment they started talking about supernatural stuff. The way that it's been talked about has kind of made me wonder, is there some actual real basis for it in this game world? Because I do not know. There might be. Just as the technology is outside of my understanding of the world that I live in, there may also be supernatural elements of this game world that are unfamiliar to me outside of the world that I live in, again. So the laws of our universe do not have to hold as the laws of their universe. And that includes things such as potentially being able to speak to the dead. If you, upon playing this, immediately assume that any incidence of potential magic is absolute bunk, I wonder, do you ask yourself that in any game in which magic appears? What does it take for you to believe that within the context of a game world or a fictional story, the magic exists? Does it have to be the level of wizards throwing fireballs? Does somebody have to tell you straight up this is magic and it is real? Where do you draw the line? Where does your where does your ability to believe it begin or end? In my case, if something tells me that there is magic in its world, I will accept that until proven otherwise. I don't assume that every single setting is going to have magic in it, because there's plenty of stories that don't have any magic in them and don't need to have any magic in them. But I find it utterly bewildering that people will be told by characters and worlds and things, this is magic, and will say, of course this isn't magic. Because I'm not saying believe in magic in the real world. That's up to you. But I'm saying within the context of this fantasy, fictional, made-up, non-existent society, why would you assume that there is no magic in it? So, because I'm approaching everything here with perhaps an unnecessarily open mind in some fronts, I do not immediately automatically discount this as being a figment of my character's imagination. It is very, very possible that I am about to interrogate a dead man in my own head, which could either be just the fact that I'm completely losing it and hallucinating, or it could be a method of, for example, using empathy to imagine what would a person say in the situation, kind of a form of role-playing for problem-solving purposes. Both of those are possible. It could be Ocelot being cuckoo banana pants crazy, or it could be him working his way through solving a mystery. But it could also potentially be that he is on some level attuned to something else larger than that. I don't know. And those of you who are very opposed to that will be like, oh my god, I'm so frustrated and annoyed. Why does Lauren think this? The game has given me no reason to think that that is an impossibility. Implausibility maybe, but not impossibility. And I am only operating under what the game is giving me. I am not bringing a real world disbelief into a fictional setting. So, now I'm really wondering, because there have been these small moments outside of this that have kind of made me wonder, but this is the first time that it's really, been pronounced and in your face. Everything else has been small hints, somebody else's superstition. This is the first time that a supernatural element has presented itself in the game, which may or may not be real. And it's possible that it may become real if I choose to roleplay this character as believing in it. That may mean that it exists. It may mean that we never know whether it exists or not, because to this character it does, and he is not a reliable narrator. I don't know. So all of that is what I'm bringing to this. And if you've been watching me for a while, probably none of that is a surprise. So, with that in mind, are we seriously talking to ghosts? I didn't expect that. I did not expect that. We'll find out. I'm going to have a conversation with this man. We will see where I fall, if I have any more hints. He's not a zombie, though. We're not talking to his zombie form. His lips aren't moving. We're conversing with his spirit on some level, I think. Do we want to break out the dead scale? We can do that. Where is it? Do I still have it on here? To remind everybody, this is from when I played Dark Souls. Lauren's scale of deadness. I don't think he qualifies as having skin. I think for the purposes of Disco Elysium, this man does not have skin. I think for the purposes of Disco Elysium, the question is he 0? A still corpse? Or is he 3? Is he dead, or is he dead, alive? I guess. I don't actually think any of this makes sense. I'm not sure that this scale of deadness actually applies to the scenario. Applying my scientific problem-solving mind, I'm not sure that the scale of deadness is appropriate for the world of Disco Elysium. He could be like a 0.5, separate category. Because it's not mashing face into wall. There's no animation here, but there could be some presence that would allow him to communicate. So yeah, is he a 0 or is he a 0.5? I think that works, Serious Inc. Let's roll with it. All right. This might be a little bit of comic relief about the fact that we're about to dive into interrogating a corpse. How dead is he? Yes. Yeah. All right. I'm going to ask some questions. I'm going to start with, I can see you're gone, but who are you? Just to get a hint for how this is going to play out. But I suspect that enough is the end, which means I'm going to be able to go through and ask the rest of these questions. It's my guess. But we're going to try this and see what happens. All right. I can see you're gone, but who are you?
I'm a joke. Look at me.
There's nothing funny about you. Or, you are now, but who were you when you were alive? I'm going to say there's nothing funny about you.
There is nothing funny about jokes either.
Oh, I've heard he's the voice actor. See if I can place it. I've heard his voice before in this game. All right. Who were you when you were alive?
A killer. A motherfucker. And a killer.
Content warning language. I have another question for you. Yeah, well, it does. We definitely know then that this is a man of violence, wearing armor with defined enough muscles that Kim has decided that he is a fighter. And here he is confirming this, or Ocelot's own mind is settling into that.
Go ahead, Cobbo.
Cobbo, is that cop? Where have you gone?
Into the wild pale yonder.
His voice breaks. Where is that?
In the past. Way out in the west.
There's a little bit of improvisation there. Thing is, saying way out in the west has a different feeling than way out west. Way out west for me makes me think of the Wild West. What is happening?
What do you mean?
I'm talking to you.
It's the power of your...
Black, frothy liquid starts bubbling on his lips. It's your imagination, presumably.
Imagination.
All right. Sophie is looking at the game, by the way. She's finding this very interesting. Thank you, kitten. Would you like to see? See if we can get this cat cam working again. There's Sophie watching the game.
easy! Inanimate objects and dead people can't really talk to you! Your wild imagination is doing this. Ask some more of those questions you love so much.
All right. So, like, the thing is, it actually wasn't a jump scare for a movie because I'm expecting something like that to happen with this. So, as I've said, I'm approaching this with an openness, but also an awareness that magic may not be the answer. It's just that I'm not dismissing it out of hand. So, this does seem to be saying pretty clearly that this is not truly happening. You do not actually converse with ghosts. So, on the death scale, we can assume that the man is dead. A still corpse. All right.
He loves those.
Why do I love questions so much?
Because you're a copperoonie. Look at all of them go. Do you want more questions?
Yeah, give me questions. I could say give me a comical amount of questions. Yeah, I usually say no, I don't really want to do lots of clown shoes, but if the result of clown shoes is more words. Amazing. I love questions. I do. That's true. That's true. I always have lots of questions about everything. It is a problem. It is a character trait of mine. There, you get a cat. Ah. If I can shift this. There we go. Look at that. There's a kitten looking straight at you. Hey, Phil. Welcome. We're about to get a comical amount of questions from the dead body.
Coming right up, copperoonie Rooney. This is getting upbeat now.
Amazing. Is my name Rooney?
Fuck no. You're no Rooney.
So I can say I do strike myself as a Rooney, or Rooney is obviously not who I am. No, that's not it. Clearly that's not it. All right, Rooney is obviously not who I am.
Between you and me, your name is probably Harry.
I think somebody else said Harry sometime. I was gonna say, I feel like I've been getting a lot of Harry lately.
You might be onto something there.
Interesting. Okay. That's Ocelot. So I feel like I've encountered that somewhere, but I might not have. I might just be imagining it because the hanged man is being suggestive or suggesting to me. Why do I feel like I've forgotten something terrible?
Because you have.
Yeah. At this point, I'm having a conversation with myself using the dead body as the conduit for it. Who killed you?
Love did me in, Provocopo. It was love all along.
Yes, Detective Ocelot, Harry, last name, amazing. So I can say, can you ask me a question?
Sure, Lobo. I can ask you a question. Why are you doing this?
This is a good question. What?
Looking at my face, motionless. Looking into my eyes. Standing here. Why are you investigating my murder?
Johnny, my pronouns are she, her. Let's see. I don't have anything else to do. This case is all I have. Because he told me to, nod towards Kim. Maybe this will lead to something indescribable, unforeseen, miraculous. Okay, Johnny, if you're making good-natured jokes, that's all right. If you have come here because you would like to try to get into some sort of an argument about progressive politics or identity representation, things like that, this is not a place that you will have much fun. So I will warn you. Again, silly jokes, silly playfulness, but barging into a community that you haven't been in before and making a comment like that indicates to me that you are not asking that question in good faith or joking in good faith. So I'm sorry, Johnny, I don't believe you. So I'm going to ask you if you want to engage in the conversation and engage in the community like a respectful community message or a respectful community member, you're welcome to. But if you're trying to start some shit, that won't get you very far. So I really love this third option. What brought you to my channel, Johnny? I have a question for you. The riddle game. Yes, indeed. But I promise I'm not a sphinx. I won't rend you asunder if you answer wrong. Ah, yes, The Hobbit, of course. Okay. Well, I'm going to get back to playing the game then. I'm going to go with this third answer because it's very interesting. Maybe this will lead to something. Something indescribable, unforeseen, miraculous. Because if we're already kind of wearing the clown shoes of hanging out with Inland Empire, hallucinating that we're talking to a dead person, we might as well go all in. Let's do it. The clown lips on the corpse appear to smile. The face rotates before you, slowly. That is very unsettling.
Something is on its way. Something hidden. It's coming. A miracle from the northwest, and it's almost here. You can feel it in the air, on your hands. The cold spring air smoothing them over.
That is fantastic. Okay, putting a point in Shivers is the best decision that I've made in this game. I am so satisfied. This is exactly what I was hoping would happen if I put points in Shivers. All right. And again, I don't know how seriously to take this. I don't know still. Is there going to be, like, is there a sense of something changing in the air? I don't know. It's fascinating. Thank you, mods. I don't know if that individual said something else out of line or just was giving other people the vibes that things were off. But thank you for taking care of the community. Oh, wow. Okay. Thank you. I did not even see it, Chrono. Thank you. I appreciate it. Unfortunately, sometimes as a queer streamer, with a tag of some sort indicating that you are a queer streamer, especially during Pride months, sometimes weirdos will come out. I suspected that was a troll, but I do try to give people a chance. Because sometimes people come in having normalized a sense of humor that is not compatible with the way I do things. But if you ask them to do better, they will. They can and will do better. But not always. And I appreciate the mods both allowing me to do that and give people a chance, but also protecting the community when it becomes apparent that it will be a problem. So this is some beautiful writing. Ah, blue glass. I did not recognize that. Good to know. Thank you for letting us know that. All right. So I'm curious because the thing is, Shivers here is not necessarily a supernatural awareness of things, but it is an affinity with the city. It is having a kind of like a relationship with the location that you're in as a character of sorts, such that you're able to pick up on things kind of the same way that empathy lets you pick up on what is happening with an individual. That's at least my thought, perhaps, on Shivers here. So this is being awareness. Like this is a bit of awareness, of being aware of the pulse of the city, of things happening in the city. Something is coming, something is changing. On some level, Ocelot is aware. On some level, Ocelot is aware of something that I'm not aware of as a player. I'm curious about it. So we'll find out. I suspect that this is going to be a non-answer, this next question I'm going to ask. But it will be interesting to hear the result.
Maybe I was getting my rocks off.
So I asked, why were you feeling pleasure when you died? So I can say, why do you have to speak like that? What dialect is that anyway?
It's a mishmash, Copabolo. You think I'm Messinian, don't you? For you, this is how people from Messina speak like.
That's interesting. And I don't know what Messina is. I don't think I've heard that location mentioned yet in the game. So this is again calling out the fact that this is all kind of happening inside of Ocelot's head. Which could mean that the Harry is actually coming from somewhere. So that might actually be... There might actually be some weight to that being his name. I don't know. Sorry. The cat camera is not staying put. It's not a very good camera as far as cooperating. Alright, so I'm not sure what Messina is. Or are you from Messina? I'm going to say I'm not even sure what Messina is because this is something that Encyclopedia would probably be able to tell me. And clearly, somewhere deep inside his brain, he has the knowledge of what that is because the name popped into this conversation inside his head.
Well, I'm not from Messina, am I? My hair is too light a shade of brown. Trust your inner racist.
This is really interesting. So I can either say, what are you, racist now too? Or, I always trust my inner racist. He shows me this score. We're not going to trust our inner racist. That is not just generally not good. Not a good policy. Yes. Because you grow up in a world, you live in a world, there are going to be things that world has put inside of you, including kind of gut reactions to things that are based on generalizations and so on. So it behooves you to resist listening to those. Try to question that when it pops up and try not to act based on it. So Messina is a real world place. Okay. Yes, you heard it here first. Don't listen to your inner racist, folks. It is all right if those thoughts pop into your head against your will. You cannot always control what your first thought is, but you can control what you do about it, and you can control how you feel about it. So if the world has put a racist thought into your head, that does not necessarily mean that you are the worst person in the entire world, but you should probably work on that. And also, you should definitely not act on that. So. Alright, what are you, racist now too?
You think I am. You think I was a racist because this lump looks military and has tattoos. That's called profiling.
That's so fascinating, because they're calling us out on that. And this is also therefore saying that, according to this, Ocelot's assumption is that military members are going to be racist. Which tells me something about Ocelot, too. At least Ocelot as I'm playing him. Ocelot who is actively rejecting racism. So I'm going to say, so you were feeling sexual arousal when they were hanging you? Question mark.
Do I look like an erotic auto-asphyxiation type to you?
Yes, no, or I could ask what it is. I know what it is. I have heard people talk about things. I don't know. Yes or no? I don't know. I do want to I want to hear how this is described in this game. And I feel like that, but I'm afraid this might be uncomfortable. So I hope you folks, I mean, you're here, you know how uncomfortable this game can get. So we're gonna take this, we're gonna step into this.
Captain Coppadromo, I fear we are drifting away, fixating on sexuality again.
Again.
Let's go with a simpler question.
That is interesting. They just completely sidestep that. This is going to be really cutting, isn't it? But the fixating on sexuality again, I don't know how much of that he's done. So that could be referencing something in his experience prior to my gaining control over him.
He didn't choke himself. You know it.
I mean, he can't have. He's being hanged by somebody else, presumably. Alright. I don't know if I want to say I hate you, you stink and you're boring. That might be interesting. It's not... How's this? This is not a thing that Lauren would say. But we are role-playing. This is a dead body. And I'm also having a conversation with myself as Ocelot, and Ocelot is filled with self-loathing. So, sure, let us take out some of our anger and frustration with the situation in the world at large by yelling at this dead body. Let's see what happens. I hate you, you stink, and you're boring.
Do I remind you of someone?
Are you talking about me? That I stink and I'm boring and I hate myself?
A child born with Muller's disease, harlequinism, grown up miraculously.
That's not the first time I've heard of that in this game, have I? I feel like I've heard that referenced here before. I don't remember where or when, but I feel like I've heard that before. I think we might have gone off on a tangent about something. Or is this the reason why I think I saw people on Twitter who Googled this and then tweeted, "Don't look that up"? I actually, that might be it. That might be what I'm thinking of. Because I have heard this phrase before. Okay, so probably what happened is that without the context of Disco Elysium, somebody on Twitter looked this up and then tweeted, I shouldn't have looked that up. Yes. Don't look that up. Okay. Yeah, I think I will pass on looking that up. A shock site back in the day. Interesting. Oh. Yeah, the internet sure is a place. I know that it is a real medical condition. But there are some pretty grisly medical conditions out there. Like, there are some actual nightmares in the real world that aren't restricted to works of horror. Sometimes they are people's own lives. I mean, Encyclopedia is providing me with an option. And I mean, I can kind of extrapolate from looking at this dead body and seeing how it is. Like, Encyclopedia wants me to answer that. I don't know. Because, like, a deep sea creature, that would be like what the fish that has been termed blobby, which is a creature that horrifically and grotesquely expanded upon coming above surface. Blobfish, yes, that's it. So I'm going to say you don't remind me of anyone.
Sure I do. You just don't want to admit it.
Is he afraid that he's going to die in some horribly grotesque way like this, and that nobody will find his body until he has reached this state? I suspect that's what's actually happening here. So I'm going to say enough.
Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
No, that's not good. You can come back and look into this face anytime you want. Ask me your little questions, freshen your memory, create associations, remind yourself of your mortality. That's what memento mori is remember death. Remember that you will die. So I think that is the reminder here. I suspect that I know some of what Ocelot's fear here is. All right. Squint and take a step back. So I think that I have something I need to know, Corpse Man, is to go back in and talk to him some more. Squint and take a step back.
As you narrow your eyes, the monster before you blurs into a violent mess of green and pink.
Interesting.
This is a trick. You've done it before. Pink is where the blood settled in the first hours post-mortem. You can use it to see if the corpse has been tampered with. Does his position at the time of death match the discoloration?
That's so interesting. Saying this is a trick, you've done it before, like, indicates again, like, this is an experienced, competent, and capable cop in some ways. As a detective, he knows these things. He's done them before. I don't actually know, again, whether this is based on actual science, but it is very interesting and convincing. I'm going to choose observe.
Only the lower extremities are pink with a dash of blue. His fatted hands, thighs, and his neck, just above the noose. The rest of the corpse appears dark green in the cold spring air.
He wasn't hanged. He was killed in some other way. And the reason why they let him dangle for so long and the way they managed to get him up, he didn't struggle because he was already dead. And it was such an undertaking to get him up there. And they waited a long time because if he hadn't been hanged and then they strung him up like this, you would be able to tell. But now he's so decomposed that you can't necessarily tell easily. How interesting. His face and hands are pink, thighs too.
I see it. His neck too. The lividity goes right up his chin. We have good, well-pronounced discoloration here.
Kim adjusts his glasses. I don't know for sure. I'm just speculating at this point. This is me throwing a thing out. An idea has popped into my head. This is a mini golf, though. It is not an actual certainty. And as always, mini golfing can be completely incorrect. Sometimes completely unfounded. This is not completely unfounded. Look how interesting. Look, there's a birdhouse up the tree. That's interesting. I suspect that if I had done something else, perhaps, I get the feeling there is another check that you could potentially have gotten here that I didn't get. But that's fine. I'm satisfied with this. Relax
The
your
monster
eyes.
comes back into focus, an explosion of color coursing with dark marbled veins. His stomach appears pregnant with something. Black liquid streams down his thigh and onto his boot.
Ugh.
So, what do you think?
I should be a smartass. I think he was upright after death. His hands, feet, and neck are discolored. He's got bruises? Right. Yeah, I'm going to go with I think he was upright after death. His hands, feet, and neck are discolored. Well, I mean, we can't see his feet, but... let's try that.
Agreed, especially on the neck. The belt acted like a tourniquet, keeping the blood in his head.
Ah.
The hypostasis supports her hanging.
Okay, never mind. I don't really know. Let's see. Could it still be he was moved after death? Or maybe he was strangled by someone? Could it still be he was moved after death? Let's find out.
There's always a chance. We should check for ligament marks on his neck to see if they're in tune with the belt. We'll have to get him down first.
I'm gonna say he's beaten up. See the bruises?
I do. Most of them are post-mortem. Maybe even all of them. The delinquents have made our jobs harder with their little sport.
Ah, okay. That is fair. They have been throwing rocks at the body.
Stop talking in riddles, coin slot.
It means you fucked him up good, Kuno. Fucked him up brutal like.
Gonna say that something is coming out of him. Yes, Kuno is definitely helping a lot. Mm-hmm.
A pool of blood and feces has eaten into the frozen mud below the man's feet. Purge liquid is dripping into it, drop by drop.
Appetizing. I will definitely have to do something lighthearted after this, before going to bed tonight. I do think he's dead, but I think that's a smart-ass response that Kim would be like, you don't say.
The victim appears to have contained no more than half a kilogram of digestion at the time of death.
Okay. Of digestion.
The fuck are you saying?
They're... Hey folks, what's happening with the children right now? What are the writers doing? Why is it that the children are interjecting in this scene? Do you know what I'm about to say? Comic relief, that's right, Blue Glass. Even though Kuno himself is not actually what I would normally think of as funny, by pulling us out of the horror of what is happening and giving us this kind of ridiculous, absurd, you don't have to think that Kuno is funny to have the ridiculous of this kind of provide you with a comical buffer. And it's very effective without breaking the tone in a way that is jarring. If they had something that was silly or goofy or lighthearted in any way, it would be really disconcerting because this is a really dark and brutal section of the game. And so the humor that they use as comic relief has to be equally dark and brutal in its own way in order to tonally fit coherently and also not disrespect the horror of the situation that's going on. So we've got this kind of a horrific comedy happening. You see, it's very cleverly done because they couldn't put a good-natured thing. If they put this sort of silly wordplay that entertains me, it would feel out of place. But having these gross, appalling, cruel children, literal gallows humor, yes, it works. It works very well because at this point, you're several questions in, things have gotten rough. We're getting to the act, some really gross and unsettling stuff. So it's good writing. It's a very useful technique. It is a technique that writers use intentionally, as it turns out, and it is a skill that I need to continue cultivating. I've tried using it a little bit in the projects that I've been writing, but I make note of it when I see it because I tend not to think about comedy, but it's a very useful tool, even if you're writing horror or tragedy. Perhaps especially then.
Talking about shit.
Again, I appreciate that they actually do censor out hate speech, even if they don't censor out swears. That is a good move. By the way, if you want to hear me talking about comic relief, I will be making that essay about it, hopefully in the near future. So look forward to that if that sounds like fun. So either we got lucky, maybe he went to the toilet sometime before death, or you can just kind of lose it and start yelling at the children. Oh god, that is a broken man right there. Maybe he went to the toilet sometime before death? Trying to be professional here.
Maybe.
He doesn't really want to dwell on it too long. Well, we can see what happens if I say I think he's dead. Let's see what happens.
I agree.
Alright, Kim. Thanks.
There are crow's feet in his eyes. He's laughing silently.
Oh my god, okay, so that actually made him laugh. I'm glad. I'm glad.
His personality is no longer a part of the world.
Conceptualization what? Even? I mean, Kim has disconnected himself to some degree from the things that are happening around him, perhaps.
Totally dead.
Ah! Okay, it's talking about the dead guy. Okay. Alright. So I can say the world... Oh my god. Oh my god. This is going to be potentially, if I play this right, this could be an extended joke sequence with Kim at the start of this, or if you need a break. Amazing. The world no longer stores his personality in its composition. There was a time for that, and it ended 7 days ago. Or I can say, no, better not to say that, too heavy. Or totally. Or this Buster's not coming back. Or deadity dead, dead, dead. Or what is dead anyway? I have no idea, and I want to make Kim laugh again because it makes me happy that Kim is laughing, and I'm afraid I'm going to do it wrong. But that's alright. Ocelot has no idea how to make Kim laugh again, so... Thank you, May. Ocelot exploring the deadness scale here. Again. The death scale. Thank you, Dark Souls. We should play Dark Souls 2 again sometime. The world no longer stores its personality in its composition. That just sounds too heavy. I want to say deadity dead, dead, dead. Like, that's what I would say if I were Ocelot. I don't know that I would say that as Lauren in this circumstance. Probably not. But that's the one that I think I'm going to choose, so we're going to go with it.
Dabba doob doob dead.
Oh my god. He says without a hint of melody, not one muscle in his face moves. That was the most amazing thing. I could have overanalyzed why that was the option I wanted to go with, but the answer is just that's the option I would go with, so we did it. I love you, Kim Kitsuragi. You're fantastic. Okay, dead Dabba Doop Doop dead. Dabba Doop Doop dead is definitely, that can go on the death scale of Disco Elysium. Alright, so we have done all of the talking to the body. So they have confirmed he's a dead on the dead scale. Dead. In fact, I picked the option that had dead, 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 which is on Lauren's scales of deadness, dead, 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 the still corpse. Ocelot has decreed it to be so. Excellent. This is comic relief, folks. That doesn't necessarily mean it's funny. Things that serve as comic relief don't actually have to be things you would think of as funny, but you'll find yourself sometimes laughing at things you don't think are funny because your body is giving you that relief that you need. It's interesting. All right. Anyway. Oh, Kim's voice actor is brilliant. Honestly, all of the voice acting is very good. All right, I'm going to back off and catch my breath.
But there is no breath to catch. Only the cadaver filling the air and your nostrils. He slowly rotates before you, decomposing.
So how do we get him down?
Are you sure we finished the preliminary examination of the cadaver? We might miss some of these things once he's done.
He stops to think, then checks his notes. Step back and have another
The
look
cadaver
first.
slowly twists on the cargo belt, his torso covered in tattoos, and extremities blotched pink and blue.
I have something I need to know, corpse man.
Of course. You have questions, don't you? The power of your imagination is at your service.
I feel like I've done everything there is to do that I can think of. All of the questions are grayed out.
Come back later, Corpo. Amuse yourself with my frank manners and my memento mori features. If possible, also, see me in your dreams.
So this is the same line that he read before, but it showed something different. So they apparently got a little bit of the flagging slightly off. I'm going to say that I have done everything I can think to do. For better or for worse. Kim has made it clear that once you do this, the alternative is I could try taking off his boot. That's the one thing I can think of that I didn't do. But that seems like a very bad idea, and I'm pretty sure if I take off his boot, something horrifying is going to happen. Also, I could take off the boot later if I needed to, potentially. With the liquefied body inside of it. Ugh. It is past regular shutdown time. So we could leave, think on it, come back and do more of this. Or we could close this. But my instincts as Lauren, the way that I want to do this, is I have been as thorough as I can think to be. I have asked every question. I have looked at the thing. I have assessed the thing. I have squinted at him. So I'm inclined to be like, I'm done. Let's close this chapter. But I can always leave and save. Yes. So F5 is the quick save button, apparently. And then also there's an autosave. Well, we can make that decision next time, I suppose. He has, yes, he is dead. So we can shut down and decide what to do from here. Next week. Whether we close it off or what. What time is it in game? It is 8:30 in game, if I'm doing my math correctly. That's pretty late. Kim is going to want to go home soon. Well, yeah, no, we're going to shut down. We're going to save the game. Here we go. New save. We'll look next time. Here, we're going to... Next time we will look at the these options here. We will close the body out, potentially. And go from there. There, I don't have to make a decision right now. How does that sound? Does that sound good? Well, it was a big stream. I hope nobody was disappointed that I actually went and did the whole look at the body thing. But I wanted to do it before the end of this day. Like, end of this day, which I think, from the sounds of it, is going to be 9 o'clock-ish. So I feel like, for me, this feels like good pacing. I've sunk my fingers into some of the other shenanigans going on, gotten to know some characters, had a boss encounter. Some good and interesting stuff. So before we leave, thank you, Inky. I'm glad that you didn't find the conversation with the corpse disappointing. So we're going to do a special raid, and we're going to try to do special raids this month. My friend Rob Kovacs, who is a pianist, is trying to shoot for Twitch partnership. So we are going to raid him after this stream. So please stick around and go so we can raise his numbers and try to help push for him to get that, because he deserves it. So if you don't mind. Yes, and I did learn a little bit about dialogue trees. So I'm learning a little bit about how the game works. So as always, thank you for joining us here. I appreciate some of you being here for like the first time live or the first time ever. I hope you've enjoyed yourself. I hope we'll see you again. Please feel free to leave comments on the YouTube video when I post it. I will let you know about the video essay things as I work on them. I might have questions, so be prepared for me to ask about that, but hopefully that'll be coming in the next couple of months. I will be continuing to stream this on Thursdays and Thousand Year Door on Tuesdays. I'm going to try to do a Sunday stream of some sort so that we can raid. There's a concert happening, a virtual concert happening, a Virtua Ongaku show. So I don't know what that will be. So let's talk on Discord about what we want that to be. And in the meantime, I'm gonna sign off, and we are going to raid Rob Kovacs. All right. Good night, everybody. Take care of yourselves. You've been a delightful audience, and be good. Be good to yourselves. Bye.